Welcome to another edition of Get to Know Your Warrior football team for the 2017 season. I'm Sports Information Director Jeff Weiss and joined today by offensive line coach Scott Wooster. Scott, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Last year at this time, there was so much depth on the offensive line. You ended up moving actually two fifth-year seniors to defense.
Sure.
Unfortunately, this year is just the opposite.
Yeah.
You've got 5 guys coming back with experience, but after that, I hate to say you got your work cut out for you.
Yeah, no question. And we knew this day was coming. You know, we had a big group, and what a special group, and we've talked about those guys over and over. One's a Dallas Cowboy now. One had opportunity with the Chiefs, the Falcons, and Hannon Systems, med school, civil engineering, all this stuff. What a special group. But we knew this day was coming, you know, that it was going to be a reload. And we feel like, yeah, we're a little thin right now, but we solved some of those issues in recruiting. And we've got some fantastic, talented, hardworking, great guys coming in to reload that group. And like you said, the 5 guys, the 6, 7 guys that we've got are talented. We're going to have to keep them healthy, obviously, and we're going to have to be smart there, but extremely talented, and I don't know if there's going to be much of a drop-off.
Obviously, Tommy Richardson back at left guard,
Yeah.
3-year starter.
Yeah.
He will anchor the offensive line this year.
Yeah, and they don't get much better than him, you know, and everyone talks about the Thekers and the Kellys and these guys that we lost, but he's our returning starter. He'll be a 4-year starter, just an incredible football player. As good as I've ever coached in 18 years coaching the offensive line. And he's one of those guys we talked about before, the kinesthetic awareness. He can take something right off that board, right off the video, right off what I say and do it on the field. And he's extremely special in that regard. So, yeah, he's that returning starter. He's that anchor. He's that oak that's been there, that's done that, and that example in terms of on-the-field play. Absolutely.
Great leader for the younger guys. Also in the middle, you've got Charlie Younger,
Yes.
who played some O-line, also played some fullback last year.
Yes.
And then Greg Weber, who's got some versatility at guard
Yes.
and center. So
Yes.
you got some, obviously, like I said, versatility with those two.
Sure. You know, when you start with the senior Greg Weber, who started football games for us, he's been out there and done some really good things on the field for us, and now it's his turn. You know, he had a great spring, really kind of took the next step in terms of overcoming some of the challenges that he's had in the past. And so I think he's going to be that right guard that we're looking for and bring some maturity, and he's so intelligent. I mean, he's one of those guys that just knows football. He's had a 4.0 the last couple of semesters. I should go back to Tommy real quick. He just graduated too, which is impressive. Graduated in 4 years, so he'll spend his senior year in grad school, which is pretty special. And Greg's set to graduate in December. Charlie Younger. Charlie Younger's out of McWanago, Wisconsin. We took him just a couple years ago. He's going to be a redshirt sophomore. And Charlie has done everything you could ask from the leadership standpoint as a sophomore, really taken that leadership role. Lead by example, lead vocally. He's done everything, and that's why we moved him to center, because you want that guy in the middle of it.
And academically, too, when you're talking about those guys.
Everything, yeah. He's what you want, and he's had a really, really good spring. You know, had some struggles along the way just in the development process, transition from high school to college, but I think he's ready to really make his impact as a leader and a football player.
Obviously, the tackles, Justin Toxteen, Israel Helms, guys that have played a little bit of football,
Sure.
but are really going to be counted on this year.
Yeah, and those guys and we got in the position last year where we could get those guys reps late in football games, and they got the feel for college football. You're not going to find 2 more talented guys. I mean, you know, they got to get some experience, and they got to get their feet wet in terms of starting and finishing football games, but they're as talented as we've ever had, and we've had some pretty talented ones. But you take Israel Helms, going to be a redshirt junior now. You know, he was a guy that graduated basically at 16 years old, really young football player, and I think he just turned 20. He's going to be a 4th-year redshirt junior. But the length, the flexibility, everything that you look for in an offensive lineman, just the body had to catch up because he was younger. And I think that he's right on that verge of you know, crossing that line and becoming a dominant football player and being the left tackle that we've had. You know, the Joe Longs, the Ben Walkers, the Nate Thekers, all the guys that we've had in that position.
Quite a group to follow.
Absolutely, but he has the ability to do that, and as he matures into that role, I'm super, super excited about him. You know, and then we take the right tackle, Justin Toxteen, who's as talented as anybody. You know, he's a guy that in recruiting he tore his ACL going into his senior year, made it back for 4 or 5 games, so he didn't have much tape and didn't have a whole bunch of things going on, but he's a talent now, and he brings that toughness, that
little tenacity,
a little mean streak on the football field, which, you know, the Nate Thekers and the Ben Walkers, those guys that had before, and the Joe Longs, that toughness, that nastiness, and he's got a ton of talent along with it. So Excited about those first 5 because, like I said, there's not going to be a drop-off talent-wise, just a little experience. We get those guys going early, get competent, and we feel like we can be pretty good up front.
When the Warriors open up at Walsh, obviously most road trips you take 8, 9 guys.
Sure.
After the first 5, I don't believe any of them have played at college down yet. When you're talking the Taryn Hamptons, Adam McJunkin, who moved over from defense, and then you've got
Some young guys, yeah.
some young guys coming in.
Freshmen coming in. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. From a camp standpoint, it'll be different where in years past, you kind of know what you have. This year, we don't necessarily, so camp's going to be very important. Tons of competition, tons of learning. And that's exciting for me as a line coach, but I think it's exciting for them too because, we talked about in recruiting that they're going to have these opportunities. There's opportunities to compete and get on the field early, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
In terms of recruiting, you brought in, what, half dozen new
Well, yeah,
guys?
we signed 5, and then we brought in another 3. So we'll have 8 guys coming in this class, yeah. So.
Anybody in particular we should look out for, or just everybody that's going to be competition
No,
from day one?
yeah,
camp?
And I think even the guys that we brought in, as preferred walk-ons, bringing into camp, I think they're talented and they're going to have a chance to compete. We got a dream teamer from Fenton, Reed Thompson, coming in. He's going to have a shot. Lane Potter, a player that I am so excited about, guy from Hudsonville, played center. We might move him guard, tackle. We'll see where he fits best, but he's another exciting one. Reagan Kropp, young man from Ripon, Wisconsin, that we're bringing across Lake Michigan here. That he's another one. And then there's a couple guys that I'd really love to redshirt because I think down the road they could be fantastic. Ian Sharp. He's from West Branch down outside of Youngstown, Ohio. Taj Harper, Warren Harding, a great football program in Northeast Ohio there.
You got another Ohio kid in Chris Carter.
Chris Carter, a guy from Bishop Watterson, another great program in Columbus. But, he's a 6'5" guy that, you can already tell these guys have been working their butts off. You see them in orientation coming in this summer, and they already changed their bodies. These guys are dedicated, determined football players.
They seem to get it.
Absolutely, absolutely. These guys that fit our culture, guys that passionately want to pursue a degree. They're really intelligent guys, extremely hardworking. They believe in the fist. They believe in 5 guys working together, put their ego aside and get to work. So, no, extremely excited about this group coming in. Couldn't be more excited.
Sounds great. I'll look forward to see what kind of holes they can open up for our running backs this year. Thanks again for watching this edition of Get to Know Your Warrior football program. Stay tuned to WSUathletics.com for other position previews.